You don't have to think, well, I've got to
Wow.
come up with a completely original, unique idea that's going to sell to all around the world.
And so I understand the pain. Now, the pain that I kind of look at now, Lucy, is blind spots. We all have blind spots. And
When you put all your knowledge into the right words in a book, then you have that gold bar, the thing that is hugely valuable to you. As stories are really important in your book. And everybody has great stories who's worked as an entrepreneur or a coach.
they don't even see what I see or feel
No.
what I feel. And so it's important that I don't. It's like we used to say back. I mean, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know?
You've got to do the writing yourself. And the other thing is, your ideal clients want to hear your actual voice.
Hi, this is Curtis McCullom with the Curtis McCullom Show, where we delve into the mindset of top CEOs and entrepreneurs around the world. These individuals share with you what it takes to be and become the best version of yourself. Bespoke Human Potential Coaching sponsors this show. So if you find yourself need to eliminate some blocks, right, some blind spots that you kind of been dragging around since childhood, reach out to us. And kind of figure out what is it your next steps you need to be taking. Because, we don't want you stuck. We want you to reach your full potential. So if you feel stuck and feel like something is holding you back, don't wait. Please schedule a free clarity call with me today using the link below. And let's uncover what's really stopping you from moving forward. And if you're enjoying this show, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a review. That's so important, guys. Your support helps us reach more people who are ready to transform their lives. In studio this moment, we have Lucy McCarraher. That's what it is. See, she knows better than I know. Basically, she's the founder and CEO of BookMagic.ai. Basically, she helped entrepreneurs and experts write the book that gets them more leads. I think she mentions in her bio that writing fiction books, you should aim for carefully planned strategic approach where words directly align with your business, your vision, and the services that you offer. So that's kind of what she does. But she's more than that, guys. You'll find out that she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to you becoming the best version of yourself. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me, Curtis.
It was a really pleasure to meet you a few weeks ago when we discussed kind of what we were going to be sharing today. And you are a fascinating individual. So I want the audience to kind of get to know you like I've gotten to know you. Share a little bit about your journey. How did you become who you are today?
Okay, well, I am not somebody who you could say has had a smooth upward trajectory following goals kind of career. I've done all sorts of things and I've really responded to what's been offered to me, which has been all kinds of things really. So I in fact, I did start my publishing career when I was still a student, and I happened to be in Australia at the time, and I founded a monthly national theatre magazine, which was in fact a kind of a crazy thing to do because Australia is a very big country with a very small population, and theatre is a pretty niche subject. With a small group of people, we got this going and ran it for 8 years, and it was an incredibly good learning experience, among other things, because this was back in the day when everything was analog. There was no digital printing, no computers, no email. Everything was paper, pen, printing, hard printing. So it was a brilliant experience. And then I went back to England, which is where I came from in the first place. I had actually that had led me into presenting for TV. I became a sort of a television theatre critic, and I had my own entertainment show in Australia. And I went back to the UK and
Well,
worked in TV and video and did all sorts of things. I did a lot of writing there, so children's series and all sorts of things. And then, as fate would have it, I kind of accidentally moved into becoming a work-life balance expert. So I spent the next decade working in what was actually quite a new area at the time. And I
right.
became an expert in work-life balance and working with all sorts of big companies like Microsoft and Virgin and big banks and government departments, as well as actually SMEs and small companies as well, but just sort of promoting the idea that work-life balance and flexible working was actually very good for the bottom line, as well as very good for people and employees. So that was where, in fact, I wrote my first book. I'd always wanted to be a writer, but I'd never found the thing to write about. So I wrote a book called The Book of Balanced Living, and also a corporate version of it called The Work-Life Balance. I can't remember what it was called now. And so that was it was a kind of program really for companies to put work-life balance in place for their employees. And yes, I know it was called the Work-Life Balance Manual. It's come back to me. And then then I took some time out and wrote some novels, and then I went back into publishing and started with my co-founder, Rethink Press, which has now, that was about 14 years ago, and that has since become the biggest hybrid publisher of business books in the UK. And that's because we specifically
Wow.
work with entrepreneur authors, coaches, consultants, speakers, business leaders to, as you said in your introduction, write the book that builds their business, that transforms their business and takes everything to the next level. And having while we were publishing books, realized that a lot of entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs, are not professional writers. That's not what they do. They're experts in their field, but not experts
Right.
necessarily at writing. So I developed a writing program for them. And then recently we've turned that into an app called BookMagic.ai. And BookMagic has sort of taken the best of AI, really, and all the human empathetic experience of working with authors to get that book planned, written, and published. And you can now do it all through the app. So that's where I am at the moment, building BookMagic AI as the
Wow.
app to write your book.
Right. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, like you said before, your journey has not definitely has not been a clear path. I
No.
mean, but what it feels like to me, Lucy, and kind of share with me is that wherever you felt that where you needed to be at that time, you became an expert in that area. And you allow yourself just to kind of continue to learn and grow and expand, which is a part of what I call a legit mindset, is that everything that you went through were learnings. It's like, okay, and then you kept growing and expanding and moving with the market to be where you are now. Is that pretty close to
Yeah,
it?
that sums it up beautifully. Yes, that's absolutely right. I mean, I think if there's a through line in what I've done, it's that I like to
Okay.
provide platforms for people who don't necessarily have voices, if you like, or public voices, to be able to share their wisdom and expertise. But that's taken me, as you said, through a variety of different ways of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's key though. I mean, I think that's key to success when you know that you still have a passion, right? You have this burning desire to help individuals at the bottom line, right? And the way you've been doing it is actually growing different opportunities. Let's think about it now. AI has been around for a long time, but it's become the buzzword for the last year, 2 or 3 since ChatGTP kind of brought it to the forefront. But now you've taken total advantage even of AI to help individuals like me to write a book, which, like you said before, I'm not a writer and I wouldn't even know where to start when it comes to that. Right. So you talked about like 3 things that a person should actually keys to processes. So share with the audience a little bit about those processes.
Just for you. So I think the mistakes I
That's
see
for
people
me.
making, just for you, the mistakes I see people making are that exactly what you've expressed. They don't know where to start. They've got all this brilliant content and intellectual
Right.
property in their heads. They've done all this wonderful work, and they don't know where to start unpacking it to make it a good book. So what has to happen first is not to jump into the writing, but to position it to your market. That's the important thing. You don't have to think, well, I've got to
Wow.
come up with a completely original, unique idea that's going to sell to all around the world. What you're doing is writing a book that, as you said, will be a lead generator, an authority piece, a visibility piece, but in your own market. So it's really essential to know your business well, to know who your ideal client is, and to get it very clear that you are writing for them. And we have this tool called the 3 Ps of position, which sounds incredibly simple. And it is person. The first P is person. So get a really good handle
Right.
on who your ideal client is. The second P is pain.
Right.
Where are you meeting them in their journey where they are in
Okay.
pain, they have a problem, a question, whatever it is, and they're looking for
Right.
something to solve it. So you need to know exactly where they are on their journey. And then the third P is promise. And that is what you offer them. That is the content of your book. It's whatever you do. So you don't have to come up with anything completely different that you've never thought of before. What you do and how you do it and why you do it is the content of your book. So everything you need to know to write your book is already in your head, in your experience. And
Right.
it's just so
Right.
that's where you need to position yourself to begin with.
Bespoke Human Potential Coaching sponsors this show. Bespoke helps CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs get rid of those blind spots that they've been carrying around since childhood. So if you're stuck and have some blocks, click the link below for your clarity call or scan the QR code if you're on video. Let's get rid of those blinds. Now back to the interview. Okay, so think about it. So here I am. I am a mindset expert. I am a human potential coach. I help people transform their lives, right? And then, so the audience that I talk to entrepreneurs and top performing individuals, CEOs and founders of companies. That's my voice. Why? Because I'm a CEO and I'm a founder and I'm an entrepreneur. I've been there, I've done that, and I've bought the t-shirts. I got all different types of t-shirts where I've had some experiences that I've gone through, right? And so I understand the pain. Now, the pain that I kind of look at now, Lucy, is blind spots. We all have blind spots. And so my focus is that I know as a neurolinguistic programming master practitioner and as certified hypnotherapist and a master in mental and emotional release is that most of the stuff that comes up for entrepreneurs is not new. It's something that they've been carrying around sometimes since childhood, meaning like these beliefs and these, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not this, I'm not that. So that's my pain. That's the pain. And the promise is that I'm going to give them an opportunity to have clarity, to have peace and understanding of who they are now so that they can move their lives forward. Does that meet the
That's
positioning?
absolutely perfect. That is a perfect description of your book. I mean, a brilliant title might be something like just Blind Spot. And then you have a subtitle that describes that calls out those people. You say who it's for. I mean, entrepreneurs, business people, whoever you particularly want to focus on. And you give them your promise.
Right.
And in that promise, you're also clarifying what their pain is because they're not at that place at the moment. But yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Yeah, you've nailed it. Write the book immediately.
Right, right. And that's the thing about it. See, like man, with your coaching, just what you just shared, guys, and that's what she does with this AI program is now get the stuff in our heads, the how to actually position it so that we can actually get the book out because I have the information. Lucy, I've been doing this now I've been practicing this about 40 years, right? And sometimes stuff comes out that I have no idea how long it's been there. And so when a person comes to me for a challenge, I have the solutions. So the certificates that you see above my head are not just paper. This is stuff that I've been been learning for the last, you know, 40 years of my learning. Like you said before, most of us have a book in us. Now we need someone like you to bring it out of us, right?
That's exactly right. And I love that your certificates are all kind of gold up there because what I say in my book, so I've also written a book called Book Magic that goes with the app. And in my book, I talk about entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants sitting on a gold mine. And the process of writing your book
Right.
is like mining. So you have to go prospecting. You've just done the prospecting bit for your ideal clients and their pain
Yeah.
and your promise. So you've done that bit. So then we need to go to the mining bit where you kind of dig deep where into the solid gold of what is below the surface. But as you say, it's in your mind, it's what you've done for years and years. And then you extract it and we put it into a structure, a plan for your book. And then we refine it by writing, editing, and testing it. And then you've got this, I like to compare a book to a gold bar, because gold, if it's sitting in a gold mine, well, it's great, but
Okay.
nobody can see it, and you can't get the value from it. But when you turn it into a tried and tested format, like a gold bar, a book is the same. It is,
Okay.
says expert, a book is that absolutely kind of classic, iconic format. And when you put all your knowledge into the right words in a book, then you have that gold bar, the thing that is hugely valuable to you, as opposed to just all that potential sitting underground. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is about the mining it out, the extracting it, and then the shaping it and the refining it into that book.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about it. I think that's what you talked about. I guess that's the planning part of it, right? It's
Yeah.
going from the bottom up. I think you mentioned that in the pre-interview. So is that the bottom up, meaning like, okay, now and that's the thing about it. And I think for me as an entrepreneur, one of the most the biggest challenges that I've experienced as an entrepreneur is really truly finally describing who's my ideal client. Right?
Yeah, well,
It's like because of the fact that when we go into business, we think we want to serve everybody, and I
that's
can
right.
serve everybody. The technology and stuff that I actually utilize can serve anybody and everybody, but I can't talk to everybody because then the message gets watered down so that is not as strong as it needs to be. So now I know my audience, right? My CEOs and my founders and my high achieving entrepreneurs. That's my audience. But then you
Yeah.
says planning, going from the bottom up. What does that mean to me now? I mean, okay, now
So
we
the
have the
planning is,
person, we have the pain, and we have the promise.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the planning, the way I plan is, or help other people to plan their books, is not to say, okay, let's divide it into chapters and headings and things. It's to start at the bottom with very intuitively. So I like to take the stress and the tension out of, deciding what your content's going to be, and just say there are 30 to 40 things that you need to tell your ideal client, that you want to tell your reader in your
Mm,
book. So just list the 30 titles of things that you could write a blog post about. 500 to 1,000 words. Just write the titles down, because
right,
your book doesn't need to be longer than, I mean, I'd say the perfect length is 35,000 words for a business book of this kind. So if you can
right,
name 35, let's say, titles that you could write 1,000 words on, then you've got the content of your book. And it will take you, 20 minutes, half an hour to write down those titles. And that's where you start. So it's just not as difficult as anybody thinks. And then the next phase is to think about stories. Now, stories are really
okay,
important in your book. And everybody has great stories who's worked as an entrepreneur or a coach. So your
right,
stories are ideally your case studies. You need to have 10, 15 case studies that you can turn into short little stories, say 250 words, not great long case studies where you go into massive detail, but just little narrative
right,
stories
right,
that
right.
illustrate the topics that about sort of 2/3 of
Hmm.
your topics. And the other kinds of stories that really grab your reader and your ideal client will be anecdotes from your own life, from your own learning journey, whether that's personal life or business life, whatever it is. It's sort of you being open and vulnerable and saying, look, I've been where you've been. This is what happened to me. This is what I've
Yes.
learned. And this is what I can now do for you. So it's not about kind of starting your book with a massive, great sort of chapter on your backstory and your entire life history. It's about pulling out those little anecdotes that make people go, oh, yeah, I
Wow.
really like that guy. That's terrific. I want to work with him because I can see that he gets me. So that's the next stage. And only after that do you think, okay, we've got these topics, we've got these stories, let's pull them into some kind of shape. Let's make them into a journey for the reader. Let's put them in the right
Right.
order, and then we'll divide them into chapters. And then you've got your book structure. And it's so easy to write after
Wow.
that, because you've got all these titles, okay, today I'm going to write 1,000 words on this topic, and that's it. And in Book Magic, you just sort of click on your topic, open it up, write it, finish it, wait till the next day and write then. Oh, well, you can write it. You can write lots a day if you want, but I would always suggest just do an hour a
Right, right,
day.
right, right.
So that's how it works. BookMagic kind of guides you through that process.
Bespoke Human Potential Coaching sponsors this show. Bespoke helps CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs get rid of those blind spots that they've been carrying around since childhood. So if you're stuck and have some blocks, click the link below for your clarity call or scan the QR code if you're on video. Let's get rid of those blinds. Now back to the interview. Gosh, I mean, I don't know if you guys hearing this, but I'm definitely, my eyes are definitely open to it because of the fact that one of the biggest challenges, most people, they don't do bottom up. They basically says, okay, list all the chapters. Well, now you're like kind of scattered. What you're saying is that if I get all the content, all the information, everything that's within me out, and then I think what you said, and I was going over this with my coach over this week, is being authentic to who you are. It's like, and that's one of the things that I've been in is like, who knows Curtis as who Curtis, just the true part of Curtis, the authentic part of Curtis is that it's interesting to me. I can teach it, meaning like share other things with them, but now I'm being truly vulnerable to my audience to let them know, truly know some of my trials and some of my challenges and how did I overcome them and all of these things, kind of really showing the authentic part of me. I think that's kind of what you were sharing too, is that in
Yeah.
these little snippets, that's kind of I'm on target, right?
Yes,
I
and no,
mean,
exactly that. You've put it beautifully. I mean, that's absolutely right. And if you open up, then your readers, who should be your ideal clients, they will want to come and work with you because they feel your
right.
honesty, they feel your openness, and also the case studies where you show how you've worked with other people or other businesses, whatever you do. They should. You should
Right.
have a wide range of those through your book so that every ideal client reading your book at some stage or a few stages goes, "Ah, that's me. That I'm just like that person, like that case
Ah,
study. I need what he's given that person." So that's how you give them all the information and then you illustrate it with the stories, and the stories are what make them go, I need to work with this person. Yeah, they get
mm.
me. They get other people. I love that story. I want to come back and work with them.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's what kind of what you shared about in the opening, what I was talking about. You actually writing a book with a plan in mind, with a strategic plan, not just to get a book out. A lot of people says, well, I'm an expert and to get a book out. And really and truly, you look the first couple of chapters of the book are like, okay, yeah, that's a book, but it's not a book. I mean, it's just something to say, I wrote a book. But what you're saying is not just write a book, but write a book on purpose for a specific purpose. Oh, now you talk about too the writing process. You talk about we write the book, then we review. Do you guys do the actually reviewing and help edit, or is that all through AI too? How does that work?
We do at Rethink Press. At Rethink Press, we have a whole publishing package where you start by submitting your manuscript and then we review it, tell you if you need to make
Right.
any changes or if you need any help to do that. And then we go through copy editing and proofreading and all that sort of thing. In Book Magic, we take you through the process. What the writing process is first about getting your first draft out. And that's one of the big mistakes people
Right.
also make, is that they think that when they write their first draft, it has to be perfect. But it doesn't. It is only for your eyes. And it's if you stop
Right.
and start and go away and research and do lots of finicky editing, you'll never get it finished. And so the first draft is just getting what's in your head out of your head and onto the page. It's sort of
Right.
writing by numbers. You've got all these headings now for your topics and your stories, and you just write them out. You get them out in a
Right.
very rough format, and that is fine. And then you go back and you review and improve. So actually, what it takes you through is the writer process, and that's an anagram for
Okay.
write your first draft, review, improve, test, edit, and repeat. So the review and improve
Okay.
is about doing your first self edit. So then I would always suggest that you print out your first draft. I know that sounds very old school and unenvironmentally friendly and all
Yeah,
that, but
but
there's something about, a physical kind of representation of your book, of what you've
right.
written, because you need to get a bit of objectivity at this stage. You need to stand away from it. You know how when you write and your eyes and your with your hands on the keyboard and your screen, it's kind of like it's a
Right.
sort of symbiotic process and you can't get separate to it very easily. So print it
Right.
out, go through it with an actual pen and ink and make notes on it. And it's not about kind of grammar, punctuation, spelling, that stuff yet. It's just about, is this bit good? Is this bit boring? Have I put too much here? Have I put too little? What have I left out?
Okay.
Sort of things like that. So go through that and then go back to your online manuscript and then make all those changes and go through it. And then you've got a much, much better second draft. And after that, the testing bit that is to test with beta readers. And your beta readers are, I would suggest, no more than 6 people, otherwise it gets really overwhelming. So pick 2 people who
Okay.
are your peers, who know your subject as well as you do, not competitors,
Okay.
obviously people who you trust, but pick 2 of them and
Right.
ask them if they
Absolutely.
will read your second draft. Also 2 people who can sort of look at it from the point of view of being your ideal clients. So maybe people are somebody you've already worked with, maybe somebody you'd love to work with who's actually a prospect, and maybe this, you can see if this will suck
Right.
them into becoming a client. And then I would say one kind of objective, not necessarily a specialist, but somebody who might like to read a good business book. So just get their view on it like that. And then if you can, somebody who is really kind of high up in your industry, and you might know them or you might not. You might just approach them out of the blue. And people always think that
Right.
when you ask people to be a beta reader, or probably you call it a beta reader of your manuscript, that you're asking them a huge favor. But actually, people love to be asked to read manuscripts of books. They
Really.
are incredibly flattered. It's like, I really would value your opinion, and you tell them why you've picked them. And then you have to make sure that you're not saying, you're saying, do not, you do not need to edit this. You don't need to pick up my spelling mistakes, or that's going
Right.
to be done later by a professional editor. Just tell me what you think of it.
Right.
Have I put the right stuff in? Did you enjoy reading it? Where were the bits that you liked? Where were the bits that you didn't like? And you get that sort of feedback from 6 different people. And it's just, again, it is like gold dust. They just focus on what, the things that you haven't seen,
Wow.
the bits that I mean, they tell you the good stuff, which is lovely, but the really
Right.
useful stuff is where they tell you, you could do this better, or I didn't get this exactly. Can you be clearer? Or I wanted a bit more on this. So that is incredibly useful feedback to have. And then you edit that, you go through that at your manuscript a final time, edit what you choose, because with beta readers, you don't have to, you might disagree with them. They might disagree among themselves. So you
Right,
need to
right. I
do
mean, because it's still my
it's still
manuscript,
your
and so I
exactly,
have the right
exactly.
to not change it, because sometimes they don't even see what I see or feel what
No,
I feel, and so it's important that I don't it's like we used to say back, I mean, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, It's just like you just
exactly,
take what you can
exactly.
get from it, and then if you feel like it's useful, use it. If not, okay, that's fine too, right?
Yeah. Just, thank you very much for your feedback. It was incredibly useful. You don't have to tell them what
Right,
you've taken and not taken. So you take what you want and then you go through it for the final time. And that is your final edit. You've now got a third draft and you should be
right,
ready for publishing at that point. So whatever you're going to do, and you can look for a traditional publisher, or you can go with a hybrid publisher like
right,
Rethink Press, or you can self-publish. But whatever route you take, you must make sure you have a professional editor who does that copy editing work on
mm,
your manuscript, because they are AI can't do it. Oh, and the other thing I haven't said and you
no,
must say is that do use AI to write your book. Use it like we do in BookMagic for
mm,
suggestions, for ideas, for structure, for helping you
right,
position, all those things, but don't actually let it do the writing for you, because it doesn't sound like you. It doesn't know what's in your head. It can go everywhere online and find all sorts of information. But as we've said, the gold dust is what you know in your head, your case studies, your experience, and AI can't make that up. So you've got to do the writing yourself. And the other thing is, your ideal clients want to hear your actual voice. That's what it's a communication between them and you. So even if writing is not your favorite activity, you might be dyslexic, English might not be your first
right,
language, in which case you can also, in BookMagic, you can speak your book. So, you can just press on our little microphone icon and talk. And I know that some people think by talking, some people think by writing.
Well, I mean, that's me. I mean, and that's basically right now is like, you know, uh, I've been practicing around with a lot of different types of text to type of recordings because of the fact that I think by singing it, and I
Yeah.
have some great things, and then by the time I get to the well, for me, Lou, by the time I get to the keyboard to write it, it's, like, gone because,
Yeah.
it's that good, but then don't remember what it was, so it's so important for me is that, yeah, let me say it, let me just talk about it, and usually for me too, is like even when I'm writing or thinking, my assistant says, "Okay, what do you want us to talk about this week?" And they can just ask me a question, and then that's when all the all the goodness and all the and a very authentic answer comes up, or a case study that I remembered, it comes up because it's naturally there. But then by the time I get ready to do this, uh, it's like, huh? So I
Yeah,
like
no,
that for I
exactly.
love that feature.
I mean, I think the world is kind of divided in half like that. So, I mean, it was really important to me that book magic should be inclusive. And, I think a lot of people are put off writing a book by exactly that, by the writing. It's not something they love doing. So it's really great that you can speak your book, and you will probably end up doing a bit more
Yes.
editing, or your copy editor will, because we speak more words than we write on the whole. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Just talk in your voice, and then a good professional copy editor will just polish it and refine it, and it will be brilliant. And I love it when
I
our authors
love it.
get their manuscripts back from copy editing and they go, "Oh, I've written such a good book. That's fantastic." And yes, they have, but it's with a little bit of help as well.
Well, absolutely. Ain't nothing wrong with I remember when I was in college, one of the teachers I was taking a writing class, he says, "The beautiful thing about writing is rewriting." It's
Yes,
like, you can
yes.
always rewrite. It's always can have you can always edit. So it's like whatever it is, just get it on the paper, then you can always rewrite it and that was it. So I mean, thank you for the master class. I hope you guys got something from my personal master class from Lucy. She done an excellent job. So how can they get in touch with you so they can get onto this the book magic AI? I mean, this
Well, you
sounds
can
pretty
go straight
powerful.
to BookMagic.ai, which is literally bookmagic.ai. I mean, I think you have to put HTTPS at the beginning, that thing. But,
Right.
just search BookMagic.ai and it will come up. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm there. You're very welcome to connect with me and message me there. It would be good to hear from anybody who's interested in writing their book. And yeah, it would be great. Or you can find my book on Amazon, and that is the Book Magic, which also has the links to Book Magic the app. But yeah, go to Book Magic AI. You can give it a try. You can try. There's a free level that you can test out particularly the 3 Ps you can do
Right.
for no. You don't have to subscribe. But the other thing is too, I just say at the end of your book, Book Magic provides an amazing AI sort of service for promoting the book as well. Because once you've written it, it can take your words and turn them
Right.
into a series of LinkedIn articles, blog posts, social media posts, video scripts, and with graphics
Wow.
as well. And it can post them for you. That's the really boring bit, when you have to post every day on social media about your book. But Book Magic will do it for you. So it takes you all the way through.
Wow, what a tool, what a tool. Guys, thank you, Lucy. I mean, I'm definitely appreciative of my personal mastermind with you this morning. And if the guys had an opportunity to listen to it, so be it, but this was for me. I mean, this was definitely for me because this is one of the things that's on my list to do this year is to write the book. And it's like but everybody makes it so difficult to do. I think for what you've explained to me this morning, it makes so much more sense because I can do 1,000 words. I can do 250 words. I can talk about case studies of all the people that I've helped and their lives have been transformed. I can talk about some of the challenges I've gone through and how I overcame them through some of the technology and some of the modalities that I use. So I have all that stuff, but I'm like, it's all up here. Now, how do I get it out without having to sit down and write chapter one, da 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 da? I'm like, nah. That's not me. But so thank you. Thank you, Lucy.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, Curtis, and I'm glad you've enjoyed your personal masterclass.
So, guys, you know how to get in touch with Lucy. First of all, let's thank her for being such a generous guest this morning and sharing with all the things that she does and she can do for you. So all her information will be down below so you can get in touch with her, reach out to her on LinkedIn, also go directly to BookMagic.ai to get more information. She said there is a free trial there so you can do the 3 Ps, which is the start, so you can get a feel for the software and how it works. And also remember that she has a book on Amazon with the same titles. So be sure to check on Amazon. I think I am. As soon as we get off the show this morning, I'm gonna jump on Amazon and pick up the book and see take a look at it myself. So number one, we'd like to thank Lucy again for being here. We'd like to thank you for listening in on my private information. You guys should be happy that Lucy shared with me and I'm sharing with you what she shared. So thank you. Thank you for listening in. Guys, also remember that true success comes when you kind of embrace the legit mindset. That's what Lucy's life was all about. She was learning, she was growing, she was expanding, and she's transforming. Guess what? She came to this point in her life where she is now with Book Magic because of all the experiences and all the learning she got from before when she used to do almost like, table and stone, where you used to kind of knock out everything and then the old way of printing. But she now has this wonderful way of actually doing it, learning, growing, expanding, and transforming. Keep doing that, guys, every day. If today's show resonates with you, and you have a blind spot that you need to actually work through, please reach out to me with the link below. Let's get a quick clarity call. Select to unlock your full potential. I'm Curtis McCullom. Make it a great day, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show.